Kurinji Senior Secondary School, CBSE, Namakkal.
Successful result producing school in state every year.
Administered by the Board of Directors with over 35 years of experience in the teaching field.
Special attention on art, craft, music, dance, silambam, yoga, skating and karate.
Focus on Hindi Sabha and Spell Bee Olympiad exams.
Smart class for effective and innovative learning and well-furnished library.
Solitary importance on sports and games in state and national level.
WhatsApp facilities to know activities of students and school inside the campus.
Free bus for LKG to 8th standard.
Free, hygienic and nutritious food.
NEET, JEE, IIT coaching experts from Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh along with our effective teachers.
Admission registration for classes LKG to +2.
Kurinji Educational Institution, Kavetipatti, Namakkal. Admission in progress. CBSE, KG to 12, contact 9025895176. Metric 6 to 12, contact 9344567484. For online admission, log on to www.kurinjischoolnkl.in.
In our last class, we started a new chapter, Laws of Motion. This is continuous class to that last class. So, in our last class, we discussed force and effects of force, right. So, I already gave the definition for force, which are two definitions, right. For example, force is pull or push of an object. Otherwise, force is a physical quantity which changes or tries to change the state of an object, which changes or tries to change the state of an object. Afterwards, we came to realize, we came to know force is the cause of motion. Force is the cause of motion, right. So, force can change the shape of an object, force can change the position of an object, force can stop the movement of your body. I mean, force makes an object to becomes to stop or becomes to rest. Okay. So, these we are calling them as effects of force, right. So, in between force and motion, here inertia is one of the important factor which we have to discuss, right. So, that is the inertia also we discussed in the last class, right. I will repeat once again, the unwillingness of an object or the inability of a body to change its state is simply called as inertia. So, inertia is of three types: inertia of rest, inertia of motion, inertia of direction. Suppose if your body is not able to change its state from rest to motion, then it is said to be inertia of rest. For example, doormat. When we are going to clean the doormat, immediately, instantaneously, within short interval of time, we are going to beat the doormat with a stick. So, there itself, actually the doormat is going to get the state of motion. All the dust particles which are present in the doormat also should go to the state of motion, but it is not possible because of inertia of dust particles. All the dust particles will fall onto the ground. So, this is the best example to discuss about inertia of rest. Next, inertia of motion, right. So, inertia of motion is the unwillingness of an object to change its state of motion to state of rest. For example, your friend is running in a ground. If you ask him to stop, so immediately he can't stop, because when he is in running, he is in the state of motion. So, you are asking him to stop the motion means you are asking him to come into the state of rest immediately. So, immediately it is not possible. So, that inability to come immediately into the state of rest from state of motion is said to be inertia of motion, right. Similarly, inertia of direction, right. Okay. So, when you are traveling in a bus or a car, when there are some turnings, for example, like going to Ooty or going to Kolli Hills, right. When the vehicle where you are traveling, in which you are traveling, come across some turnings. Suppose for example, the vehicle takes a turn immediately towards right, then you also have to come into the direction towards right, but because of inability you will move, you will shift, you will fall towards the opposite direction. For example, bus takes the turn towards right means you will fall towards the left. Suppose bus takes the direction towards the left means you will fall towards the right, but it is not permanent. Slowly you are going to overcome the inertia, right? So, the inability why you are falling towards in opposite direction in which a vehicle is taking a turn is simply called as inertia of direction, right? So, please understand why I am repeating the force and the effects of force and definition of inertia and types of inertia. These all the things for us very important to understand Newton's first law of motion. If you go in deep, this information is also important to understand all Newton's laws, Newton's first law, Newton's second law and Newton's third law, right? Okay. So, in our last class I also told you what is I am also given the statement of Newton's first law of motion, but that completing Newton's first law. So, complete discussion about Newton's first law of motion not completed. So, in this class we are going to discuss total or complete Newton's first law of motion with many examples. But before going to discuss the examples and Newton's first law of motion, I need to repeat the statement again. See here, every body continues to be in its state of rest or of uniform motion in a straight line unless compelled by some external force to act otherwise. Okay. Otherwise, the same statement whatever I have given in the top, that is going to modify in some other manner, in some other form. Say here, if the net external force on your body is 0, its acceleration is 0, right? Acceleration can be non-zero only if there is net external force on the body. Acceleration can be non-zero only if there is net external force on the body, right? So, you please try to understanding of Newton's first law of motion does not mean learning the statement. So, we have to visualize what is there, we have to imagine what is there. If it is correct, what happens? If it is not correct, what happens? In some other manner, how is it correct? Okay. So, these type of cross checkings very important to understand whatever it may be the Newton's law, whether it is first law, second law, third law. Then when we are going to solve the problem, it is very easy for us. Okay. Right. See here, every body continues to be in its state of rest or of uniform motion in a straight line unless compelled by some external force to act otherwise. Okay. See this. So, what he is saying here, every body continues to be in its state of rest or uniform motion. You just imagine a stone is at rest. You just imagine an object is in uniform motion. So, any of example, either stone or a body which is uniform motion, if you take anything, unless some external force is going to applied on it, the body will be there only. So, the body which is at rest, it is at rest only. The body which is moving with uniform motion, it continues its uniform motion unless some external force applied on it. So, what he is saying, for the movement of your body, for the motion of your body, force is required. At the same time, to stop the movement of your body, to stop the motion of your body, also force is required. So, that is the very important sentence we have to grasp from the understanding of Newton's first law of motion. Afterwards, I already told you in the last class the definition of force. So, two types of definition, two different definitions I have given. Another definition also we need here, that is mathematical definition of force. So, force is the product of mass and acceleration. Okay. So, this is F is equal to ma. For this F is equal to ma, we will also get derivation in case of Newton's second law of motion. Till that you just remember force is the product of mass and acceleration, mass and acceleration, okay, right. So, SI unit of force is Newton, CGS unit of force is Dyne, force is a vector quantity, the dimensional formula of force is m power 1, L power 1, T power minus 2, T power minus 2, okay, right. So, that information about that force we will also get more in case of Newton's second law of motion. Now, our discussion is Newton's first law of motion, right. So, the statement we understood, now we are going to see many examples, right. So, first example is book lying on the table, book lying on the table. So, you just imagine, so what is the book, what is the table, so how the book is existing or book is lying on the table, right. Okay. So, when a book is kept on the table, how many forces are acting on the book? So, the basic force in this entire universe is gravitational force, right. So, that is as usual the weight of the book which is acting vertically downward. If that is the only force acting on the book has to go inside the table as well as inside the earth, but it is not happening. So, what is the cause? Some other force is acting on the book which balances this gravitational force, that we are calling it as normal force. So, the direction of normal force is opposite to the direction of gravitational force here in this example, right. So, when these two forces are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction, there is no movement for the book. But I am not taking only two forces. How many number of forces are there? It does not matter. But the net force acting on the body, net force acting on the body should be 0, right. Then you can expect the state of rest for that particular book or for that particular object or for that particular body, right. So, what I am saying here in the statement of Newton's first law of motion and in this example, right, in this example that is what book, okay. In both the cases we have to cross check whether it is satisfying the example or not, okay. So, every body continues to be in its state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line unless compelled by some external force to act otherwise. In case of book example, I am not saying that no force is acting, I am saying that net force acting on the book is 0, because two forces are already acting. One is gravitational force vertically downward, another one is normal force vertically upwards. These two forces are equal in magnitude and opposite direction. Finally, net force on the book is 0, right. So, that the book is not moving anywhere, it is at rest only, okay, right. Going to the second example, another example, a car moving with uniform velocity, net force is 0, net force is, okay, right. Another example, a car moving with uniform velocity, that is all. This I will explain you next. So, a car moving with uniform velocity, right. So, what is the definition of uniform velocity? In our last chapter, motion in a straight line, we discussed what is velocity and what is uniform velocity and what is non-uniform velocity also. But I want to remind you, I want to ask you, what is uniform velocity, right. If a body covers equal amount of changes in displacement in equal intervals of time, if a body covers equal amount of changes in displacement in equal intervals of time, however the small intervals may be, then the body is said to be moving with uniform velocity. I will repeat once again. If a body covers equal amount of changes in displacement in equal intervals of time, however the small intervals may be, then the body is said to be moving with uniform velocity, okay, right. So, here our example is car moving with uniform velocity, You just imagine a car is in motion on a road with uniform velocity or constant velocity. For example, if you when you see the car, its velocity is for example 100 kilometers per hour, right. After half an hour also it is moving with the same velocity. So, that is the example here. So, in that case, if you observe carefully, the change in velocity is 0. Change in velocity is 0, right. So, when the change in velocity is 0, acceleration is 0, no. So, when the acceleration is 0, force is 0. So, automatically, because I already told you F is equal to ma. So, net force is 0, net force is 0. Not only here, in case of first example also net force is 0, right. So, in both example, either book lying on the table or car moving with uniform velocity, the net external force is 0. So, in first case, the book will be there only until unless you are going to apply some external force. In the second case, the car continues to move with uniform velocity, is in uniform motion. Up to what time? Up to what condition? Until unless some external force is applied on it, right. With these two examples, we are going to satisfy the statement given by Newton, that is Newton's first law of motion, right. Okay. Going another example, that is motion of a person on the ground, right. So, a person is walking on the ground, right. So, when a person is walking on the ground, you observe carefully how it is possible, right, how it is possible. So, the basic thing is frictional force, right. So, the surface of earth, the roughness of the earth, which provides the sufficient amount of friction for the comfort walking of a person, of a human, right. So, that is also force, that is the frictional force, right. So, which is suppose a person is walking forward, right, a person is walking forward means he is pushing the ground, So, because of frictional force, because of acting frictional force, so the forces, finally all the forces acting on the foot when he is walking balanced. Finally, the net force is 0. Because the person is applying some force and the ground earth is also applying some force. When these two forces are balanced, then he will get comfortable walking, right, that is. So, in case of motion of a person also, you just keep in mind, I took gravitational force, right, and frictional force also to discuss the example, right. So, how I took in case of first example gravitational force and normal force, similarly how I took in case of second example, right. So, when it is moving with uniform velocity, so here the reason is the force applied is the force applied by the engine of the car. Okay. Similarly, in case of motion of a person on the ground, that is the force applied by the person, but finally it is the resultant of gravitational force and frictional force. Okay. Right. So, now we discussed Newton's first law of motion statement and 3 examples. Now, we are going to see one example problem related to Newton's first law of motion, right. Okay. First, I will read the problem, then I will go for solution. See here. An astronaut accidentally gets separated out of his small spaceship accelerating in interstellar space at a constant rate of 100 meter per second square, right. So, when I am reading every line, you have to go for imagination, right. Next, what is the acceleration of the astronaut the instant after he is outside the spaceship? I will repeat once again. So, when I am reading every word, every sentence, you have to imagine, right. An astronaut accidentally gets separated out of his small spaceship accelerating in interstellar space at a constant rate of 100 meter per second square. Okay, full stop. What is the acceleration of the astronaut the instant after he is outside the spaceship? Okay, that is the question. So, in the bracket they have given one assumption also, that is also important for us to solve the problem. What is the assumption? There are no nearby stars to exert gravitational force on him. So, he is asking, he is informing us, you take only the gravitational force by the earth. Okay. So, that is the major thing here, right. Now, we are going to discuss the solution. See this. So, clearly written, see here. Since there are no nearby stars to exert gravitational force on him and the small spaceship exerts negligible gravitational attraction on him, the net force acting on the astronaut once he is out of the spaceship is 0. So, it is as simple as such. For this question, the answer is only 2-3 lines, only 2-3 words. That is what? Net gravitational force. Net force acting on him, right? So, net force acting on the astronaut is 0. That is the answer, right? And one more, with this assumption only this is the answer. Suppose if there is star, then again you have to consider the gravitational force. He will pull towards the star. You have to use the formula A is equal to F by m, so that you can find acceleration. In that situation, we can't say that acceleration is 0. With this assumption, here acceleration is 0. So, when acceleration is 0, even though there is mass, because F is equal to ma, net force acting on the astronaut is 0 when he is out of the spaceship, right. So, in some of the movies, Hollywood movies, and you can see the situation, right. In our movies also, when we are watching the movie, you can see the situation, right. Next, by the first law of motion, the acceleration of the astronaut is 0, right. So, this is all about the example problem. Next, our next discussion is Newton's second law of motion. Right. Okay. So, before entering into the statement of Newton's second law of motion, we need to discuss some other information related to that. Okay. Right. See that. The first law refers to the simple case when the net external force on a body is 0. Am I right? So, when I am reading this information, you have to recall what happened in case of Newton's first law of motion, because in this entire universe, what happened because of Newton's first law of motion in this entire universe. Next, the second law of motion refers to the general situation when there is a net external force acting on the body. See how much difference is there. See, in case of Newton's first law, we are going to keep in our mind the net external force on a body is 0, right. In case of second law, we are going to talk about net external force acting on the body, right. Say this, it relates the net external force to the acceleration of the body. So, that is I already told you, F is equal to ma, F net is equal to ma, right. But I did not explain the derivation, that we will discuss in our coming class, right. Okay. So, here while discussing about Newton's second law of motion, momentum is the very important physical quantity, okay, right. So, when I spoke about momentum, the first question from you is, what is momentum? My answer is, it is just the product of mass and velocity. Momentum of a body is defined to be the product of its mass and velocity. You may ask questions continuously, what is mass, what is velocity, right. So, these are all we are discussing, we are in a discussion about the small definitions from lower classes onwards, as well as in our last chapter also we discussed what is velocity and SI unit, CGS unit, vector or scalar, dimensional formula, everything we discussed. Okay. But here itself I need to discuss about the SI and CGS unit of momentum, as well as formula, whether it is scalar or vector, and dimensional formula. So, please keep in mind, momentum is a vector quantity. You can ask one question, why it is a vector quantity, right. Very good question. See here, mass is a scalar quantity, but velocity is a vector quantity. In our last class, that is in our last chapter, motion in a plane, I told you, when a vector is multiplied by ordinary number, like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then the resultant will be also a vector quantity. Just the magnitude of vector multiples are increased. For example, there is a vector, if you are going to multiply it with 2, the magnitude of vector will be increased by 2 times, that is it. So, that is the answer, right. But vector will be vector only when you multiply it with ordinary number, that is the explanation, right. So, here when you multiply the vector with the scalar quantity, so mass is like an ordinary number like 2 kg, 3 kg, 4 kg like that. So, finally, the momentum is also vector quantity, right. SI unit is kg meter per second, right. So, you just observe carefully, mass SI unit is kg, velocity SI unit is meter per second, that only I am writing here. Similarly, whereas if you go for CGS unit, it is gram centimeter per second, gram centimeter per second, okay, right. Next, dimensional formula, right. So, in our first chapter, so according to the syllabus, it is second chapter, units and measurement. I explained you how to write the dimensional formula. So, if you write the dimensional formula for momentum, so this is the answer, that is m power 1, L power 1, t power minus 1, t power minus 1. This is the dimensional formula of momentum, right. Momentum has great importance in our daily life. So, as we are going to discuss sentence by sentence, topic by topic, in this chapter itself, you will get with many examples, you will come across to know what is the importance of momentum, okay. Here itself I want to say the best example which gives the importance of momentum. Bullet is not killing a person, the momentum of a bullet is killing the person. I think you understood the importance of momentum. I will repeat once again, bullet is not killing the person, the momentum of the bullet, right. Mostly I do not want to go beyond the chemistry point of view, but from physics point of view, momentum of a bullet is killing the person, okay, right. Okay. I want to come back to our own examples according to our syllabus, right. See the example here regarding momentum, much greater force is needed to push the truck than the car to bring them to the same speed in the same time, okay. So, please try to understand, much greater force is needed to push the truck than the car to bring them to the same speed in the same time. You know very well, lorry has more mass when compared to the car, okay. But that is the reason. So, what is the reason? Car is less mass when compared to the lorry or truck, okay. So, much greater force is needed to push the truck than the car to bring them to the same speed in the same time because of heavy mass per truck when compared to the mass of the car. Next, another example. A greater opposite force is needed to stop a heavy body than a light body in the same time if they are moving with the same speed. For seeing these two examples, you may think that same, but there is a difference. Here he is considering time also. Similarly, greater opposite force is needed to stop a heavy body than a lighter body. Like a heavy body means imagine truck, it is not a wrong. Lighter body means imagine a car. In the same time, if they are moving with the same speed, okay, right. Next another one. If two stones, one is lighter one, another one is heavier one, are dropped from the top of a building, right, a person on the ground will find it is easier to catch the light stone than the heavy stone. The mass of a body is thus an important parameter that determines the effect of force on its motion, right. So, force is the product of mass and acceleration, no. So, when he took two stones, one is light stone, another one is heavy stone, one is light stone, another one is heavy stone, right. So, heavy stone means mass is more, no. So, automatically the impact, so which is simply force, the effect of force will be higher when compared to the lighter stone, right. So, that is why he is feeling that it is easy to catch a light stone when compared to the heavy stone, okay, that is right. So, in this class, we discussed about Newton's first law of motion statement and examples. Next, Newton's second law of motion. In that Newton's second law of motion, we did not go for statement, we are in a just before the statement. So, we discussed the momentum, which is a very important physical quantity here.